As Israel-Hamas war enters the 100th day, senior Israeli diplomat, the Consul General of Israel to South India, Ms. Tammy Haim, joins us for a special interview. Madam CG, shalom and welcome to Chennai.
Shalom, namaskara, and thank you.
How is Chennai treating you?
As always, it's lovely. I really like coming here. I like the vibe here. I like the people here. I like that many interesting things are happening in the world of high-tech entrepreneurship, innovation. Everything is happening, but somehow the feeling itself, the vibe, is a nice, mellow, I wouldn't say beachy, but maybe almost beachy because you're so close vibe. So I really like it here.
Glad to know. Madam CJ, it's been almost 100 days since this horrible massacre took place in the southern Israel and this war started. Where do you think this war is headed to? Because we see a lot of casualties of civilians, horrible things happening in Gaza. Where is this war headed to?
Yeah, one, I appreciate that you say the horrific massacre, right? October 7th, 97 days ago. Who would have believed we'd still be in the midst of a war? But the war is headed to where it's been headed from the beginning, which is we have the three main goals. The state of Israel has the three main goals. One, to free the hostages. The terrorists who attacked us on October 7th, in addition to maiming, brutalizing, raping, decapitating, killing over 1,200 people, they kidnapped 240 people back into Gaza. Since then, Israel has agreed to some terms and 110 hostages were released, but 132 hostages are still in the hands of Hamas terrorists, Hamas rapists. And when I say people, they still have babies and children and young women, and 10 people are over the age of 75. Many people have been wounded when they were taken hostage. Many people have chronic diseases. So these people are held captive in tunnels by terrorists for 97 days. So the main aim is to free these people, to bring these people home where they need to be, where they deserve to be. The second aim, of course, is to make sure that Hamas doesn't have the powers, no longer has the capabilities of attacking Israel ever again, because they're still claiming that this is what they're going to try to do again and again and again. It's their words. And to make sure they cannot govern Gaza. And the third goal is to secure the region, to make Israel safe and secure again for everybody in Israel.
The end game seems nowhere near. Meanwhile, we are seeing unfortunate death of thousands of civilians, which include Gazan children. You've been accused of genocide in the International Court of Justice by South Africa. How would you respond to this very serious charge of violating the Genocide Convention?
Yeah. One, I have quite a few choice words to say to this utterly ludicrous, charge by South Africa. I'm sure you also heard their testimony yesterday, what they were trying to say. They gave no proof. People just stood there and basically repeated blood libels, repeated anti-Semitic tropes against Jews and against Israel. They didn't show anything, and absolutely this is not what's happening. Israel has said again and again and again, we are fighting Hamas terrorists. We have no war with the people of Gaza, and I think we've been proving this all these 97 days. Our soldiers, what other army tells people or tells the enemy in advance, we are going to be coming to this area. We're going to be attacking this command center. We're going to be eliminating terrorists here. So please, one, we're ruining the element of surprise, but we had to make sure that people left. So many instances we saw soldiers of the IDF helping Gazans move south, moving to the Rafah area, moving to the safer zone, and stopping Hamas terrorists from shooting at their own citizens to keep them in these battle zones. Now, we're facing, I think, one of maybe the worst wars ever, because they are so embedded in civilian society, because they use these 16 years to entrench themselves, to abuse the society, and build these fortresses underground, basically. They have huge warehouses and factories of building weapons. They've used the money and the know-how and the knowledge that they got from Iran in a very, for them, smart way to really embed themselves and have all these storages, that it's taking longer than we thought. But another way to refute these really, really horrible allegations is, listen, Israel could have taken the decision to use the Air Force and shoot bombs at Gaza. The war would have probably been over by now, right? if you shoot 20, 30 days of bombs and flatten a city. But we took a very, very difficult decision for Israel, for Israelis. We started putting soldiers on the ground. And we're paying a very, very dear and very costly price for this because soldiers are dying to booby traps from terrorists jumping under tunnels, from IEDs. War is a hard and war is a sad issue. But we, in order to minimize damage to non-terrorists, to non-combatants, we are taking every single step possible. And by the way, I'm sure you know, but I don't know if everybody in your audience knows, the agreement against genocide, or the international treaty against genocide, was written by Jews after the Holocaust. During World War II, the Nazi regime headed by Hitler annihilated, murdered, killed 6 million Jews. That's a genocide where somebody has an aim to wipe a group of people based on their religion or their ethnicity or their, where they come from, off the face of the earth. This is obviously not what we're doing here. Israel is allowing all humanitarian aid to come in. Israel is supplying water to the people of Gaza. As I told you, soldiers physically were protecting the civilians of Gaza from the terrorists. We're doing everything we can. And we're doing what we can in order, it's a sad, nobody's saying war is bad and war is sad and people are suffering. But the numbers, and just one last moment, and I'll get back to you, the numbers you're talking about of the people killed in Gaza. One, we are all getting them from Hamas, okay? Hamas is controlling Gaza. So whether they call themselves the Minister of Health or the Minister of Education, it's still a terrorist. So, the numbers, but let's not even...
The numbers are huge.
But without even refuting the numbers, around 10,000, if not more, of those killed are terrorists belonging to Hamas. Terrorists who have committed the massacre against Israelis on October 7th. Terrorists who are still shooting rockets into Israelis. Terrorists who are still targeting our soldiers. And yes, a terrorist...
Half of them are children.
A terrorist can be a 17-and-a-half-year-old boy. A 17-and-a-half-year-old boy, and we've seen it, can rape, can brutalize, can gang rape, can maim, can cut the breast off and the arms off a young girl. A 17-and-a-half-year-old boy can do it. Sadly, we've seen these terrorist tactics.
Thousands of these people, these children are terrorists?
I don't know the numbers. We'll see at the end, but over 10,000 of those who died are terrorists. I don't know their age, but they are terrorists. So what I'm trying to say is, within these numbers, you have to include the over 10,000 terrorists who were killed. This is the only thing I'm saying here. Obviously, there are displaced people in Gaza, there are displaced people in Israel. It's a hard situation.
85% are displaced. That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. This just shows you how much Hamas terrorist organization embedded itself and abused and misused this population.
But what justifies pulverizing 3.5 lakh homes? 500,000 people have lost their homes. It's just shattered to the ground.
Getting back the hostages that Hamas is holding. We know the source of this evil. We know the source of this horribleness. These people are raping the teenage girls that they have, as the two of us are speaking. Who knows what they're doing to them? Who knows how long they've been starved? Who knows what the situation with the Israeli people who are being held hostage by Hamas, what their situation is? We cannot stop until these people are back home. And Hamas can give them. They can give them now. They can give them in an hour. They can return them tomorrow.
You speak about the Holocaust. It's the most horrible thing that has happened to humanity. But some of your ministers are invoking rhetoric similar to the Nazis. Some are calling for a nuking of Gaza, flattening Gaza to the ground. These are responsible ministers in your government. How do you justify this? South Africa accuses you of genocidal intent based on these statements from responsible people in your government.
Yeah, let me just... I know they said those words, but I have to take back and make a point. It's not close to what the Nazis were doing. They're not saying these things because they want to get rid of the people. They're saying these things because they want to make sure Israel is not threatened, that we are secure. So it's a whole different outlook, and I really don't think we can compare people in Israel, now the government, to anything that has to do, with these horrible, horrible people who exterminated 6 million Jews. But that put aside, listen, it might be we sit in the war cabinet. The decisions, whatever things politicians say, and I think in this day and age and with social media age, we've seen we've seen professors at university and we've seen politicians all over the world say some things that might not be choice words, might not be what other people would have said, or might not even been what they would have said if they had some time and not taken the quote. And
these don't reflect the official position of the government.
This is exactly what I'm saying. We always play, at the end of the day, a politician plays for his base and for his voters. But as we see, and as we've spoken now at length, the actions the government of Israel is taking, the actions the Israel Defense Forces are taking, have nothing to do with these statements. And maybe they're poor statements, but on this you don't base. When you accuse somebody or when you see what they're doing, you base it on their actions.
But it shows your intent, right?
Our actions are showing that we're doing our best to minimize loss to non-terrorists. We're targeting only terrorists, and I think this day and age we see pictures, right? I don't think we've ever done that. Even in Vietnam, when they had journalists embedded, it wasn't so immediate. We see the caches they find every day. We see the weapons factories. We see these tunnels, over 500 kilometers of tunnels.
Extremely sophisticated.
Extremely, with electricity, with sanitation, with air circulation, with storage of food for months, with places to sleep, with places for headquarters, with the computer system. Look at what they've done for for the terrorist organization, instead of doing all these things for their people.
Point taken, but there are also ministers who are talking about transferring the entire Gazan Palestinian population from the Gaza Strip. Is that your intent? Is that something that you intend to do? These are ministers saying so.
2 days ago, the day before yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu, I think, spoke, and he even spoke in English. He was very clear. Israel left Gaza in 2005. Not one person, not one soldier, nothing was left, nothing Israeli was left in Gaza. We left them, by the way, some greenhouses and some very sophisticated agricultural technology, which instead of using, they actually tore down and used it for their tunnels. But since 2005, Israel hasn't stepped foot within the border of Gaza, except for, certain operations that we did. But we have nothing there. We have no intent of going there. And I think if we're listening to politicians, let's decide to listen to the statement of the Prime Minister from 2 days ago, where he was very
the statement
clear.
From the Prime Minister, he invoked Amalek. This is seen as a genocidal intent by South Africa and the others.
Look, if the South Africans and the Palestinians are going to go back to the Bible days, right, and quoting the Bible and trusting the Bible, so in the Bible, God promises the land of Israel to Abraham and his sperm. So I guess we're not in disagreement at all. And Hamas is also agreeing with us that the land of Israel belongs to us, the Jews, the sperm of Abraham. Again, it's a quote from a.
They are an Abrahamic religion following people too.
They're from one of the sons. But Israel has always agreed to divide the land, even in the Peel Commission of 36-37. We agreed. Israel is not saying, this is the whole point. Israel is not saying, the people of Gaza can stay and live in Gaza. They have a beautiful strip of land by the beach. Nobody has any intent. Israel left them in 2000.
So you don't have any intent or proposal to forcibly transfer the Gazan population out of the strip?
But we left, right? What did we do in 2005? Did we do any? We said, okay, we're leaving. Bye. Sorry, we're going back into the borders of Israel. So again, actions speak louder than words. We left Israel. We never tried to go back.
People matter. Your defense minister is highly respected, but look at the statement that he has made. He has called the Palestinians human animals. These are responsible people who are in positions whose actions matter, whose intent speak.
I'm not going to speak. If we start talking about politician statement throughout the world,
so these don't reflect the official position of the state of Israel.
I think they reflect the actions on the ground, the very, very responsible, very slow progressing, very serious attempts we're doing to eliminate Hamas. These speak on the ground. the fact that we're supplying water, helping with the humanitarian aid, trying to get more organizations and more countries to come and give more aid to Gaza. These are the things that speak. The fact that they're field hospitals, the fact that they're floating hospitals of boats, these are the things that speak. We have to see what's on the ground, not just talk.
Point taken. Is your American support dwindling?
No. America has, is Israel's number one ally for years now, our number one friend. We work together, we work closely together, through different administrations, different times. They're voicing, friends don't always agree. That doesn't mean our friendship is not as strong as it was 2 minutes ago. If, even here, you and I can disagree on something, that doesn't mean anything, again, for, our relationship.
It's not just your critics. America has been criticizing you on the extent to which you cause civilian casualties in Gaza. How would you address those concerns?
It's hard. Every person, every casualty that's not a terrorist is hard. And again, it's understandable, but they also, like India and like Britain and like many other of our friends, are very clear. They understand the need to fight terrorism. They understand the need to eliminate terrorism. They understand the need of a government. It's not the government's decision. It's the government's obligation to secure its citizens. It's the Israeli government's obligation to get these hostages out of Gaza and back into Israel.
One criticism is you pocket as much American support as possible and resist any American pressure. That's the criticism that we hear in sections of the...
Why is it a criticism? We have to do what we need to do. I think we do listen to the Americans. We listen, by the way, this week we also had the German external affairs minister. We keep getting worldviews. The British foreign affairs secretary was in Israel. People keep coming. People keep listening. Our prime minister speaks to Prime Minister Modi on the phone. Obviously, we're listening.
Lately, the Indian position is seen as being changing. India has been taking a critical stance on Israel, on certain international resolutions, on specific issues. Are you concerned about India's position slightly changing from what it was on the October 7th?
I think India's stance against terrorism and the need to fight terrorism hasn't changed. And obviously, we appreciate and we're thankful for that. In international fora, we would like all our friends, and India wasn't alone, to vote for. But again, so many considerations go into these things. So we have to look at the big actions. We have to see what is happening. India also was very, very generous and supplied humanitarian aid into Gaza in 2 separate shipments. So, I think, again, India is being a responsible player. They understand Israel's need. And they understand the other side.
Looking at the voting pattern of India in the international fora between 2015 and till the start of this war, India was abstaining on several resolutions. If you take India's position, in the last few months, India has voted against you more than it has abstained.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it one day when when our hostages are back home and we're secure and we have time for deeper discussions. Not just you and me, I'm talking about also on the political level. But, right now, Israel is at war with Hamas terrorists, and we must make sure we can, live securely again.
Madam CJ, the other concern is the rise of anti-Semitism across the world post-October 7th. How is Israel planning to battle this huge challenge?
Yeah, you see sometimes a situation comes and all these people come out of their dark, awful holes. This is, again, something we will have to deal with. It's a horrible, horrible situation. We can't let it continue. And we do see governments, both from city levels around the world to obviously federal levels and state governments speak up against this horrendous anti-Semitism and how unfair and how, a person of a certain religious faith living in France or the US or Britain or Canada or, shouldn't be suffering. Again, they shouldn't be suffering because we're not doing an injustice. It's the Hamas terrorists who are doing injustice. But anyway, it's not.
How do you see the climate in India in this department?
India has always been. One of the treasures in India for us Jews has been that for thousands of years, Jews have been always welcome here. I don't think any of them have ever experienced anti-Semitism. Now in this war, obviously there's some protests and things happening against Israel that sometimes go into using the same tropes, the same anti-Semitic sentences we see also in other places in the world, which is hard. But I think in an overall view, I think India has, is able to, as India does, absorb, understand, and accept, both sides, both things, without going down that route of anti-Semitism.
Madam CG, as we end this interview, what is your message to the people of Tamil Nadu?
Continue doing what you're doing. I think what I've really loved seeing here, especially in the 2 years that I've already been here and in the future, the ties growing between different companies here, different producers, cooperations between the people of Tamil Nadu and Israel. We have more people coming even now, even in these times. We have a musical group that came here to perform in Tamil Nadu in the music festival. It's a big season of music here and arts. So it's beautiful to see. We're here, I'm here, my team's here to make sure it keeps going in the right direction. We keep enjoying the cooperation and your lovely, lovely state. And as I said initially, the beach. So let's just hope, as you said, that peace comes quickly for everybody, that we have a healthy, prosperous, and and a good new year for everybody.
Thank you, Madam CG. Thank you very much.
Thank you.